This time of the year, spring, is one of my favourite times, and I love Easter. And this is just such a signifier for me. The daffodils coming up. They always seem to come up nearly instantly, don't they? That's always fine. Oh, it's like I don't remember these yesterday, and I don't remember the day before. They always just seem to come up. Maybe it's me just, maybe my head wasn't in clarity yesterday. Maybe I didn't have peace of mind and calmness, and I was just thinking about calmness. And I've got a couple of projects going on at the moment, and a lot of them are being held together by calmness. And it's interesting, that position and disposition of calmness is being held by different people. Sometimes the homeowners, sometimes that position changes. Usually the architect or architects, and calmness is held in different ways by different genders on different projects. Very noticeable in the team leaders, in the architects, because I think that there is just definitely an uber calmness about their roles. And it's very interesting to see that embedded in it. I don't know if they do much leadership, I doubt it. Bowden Street wouldn't excel in explicit leadership courses, but it certainly does implicitly in roles, in dispositions, and I'm always fascinated by it. Why? Because the calmness runs through a project, and it's a felt known. It becomes part of the culture, part of the artifacts, part of the report, part of the rapport, part of the interchanges. My favourite writer of all times is a guy called Michael Flukes, Foulkes, and the guy, as far as I was concerned, or am concerned, past, present, don't read enough of the guy. He's a German psychoanalyst who ended up in the UK during the war, and he ended up, where did he end up? He ended up in a hospital in the UK, and I can't remember. He ended up in a hospital in the UK as a psychotherapist, and very, very quickly, it was a military hospital. Oh, so embarrassed, can't remember the name. But Bion was also there, an English psychotherapist, and I don't know if they had much interaction, which the literature doesn't say much about, but both of them were coming. They were group facilitators, and they were the birth of the group analytic formation. And why am I saying all of this? Why am I trying to talk about psychotherapy, which I have a profound interest in but not qualified in? So why am I talking about them? Because Flukes writes brilliantly about the matrix, and he writes brilliantly about how the role of the conductor in group analytic formations has a profound impact upon everybody in the group, in the team, and over time and disposition, the group's leaders or facilitator or therapist, whatever language you want to use, unconsciously becomes the group thought patterns. And if you look at something like Alec Ferguson in Manchester United, you can see that his die-hard Glaswegian never die philosophy won them the European Championship when they came back from a couple of goals down. And while I may not be a Man U supporter, far from it, I'm certainly in awe of the imprinting that leaders can do in organisations. And you don't need analytical tools. Personally, I think an awful lot of personal development leadership courses miss this point, and they try to get the leader to understand what leadership is and to understand what it isn't, and they explain it, but what they don't concentrate is on the personal development role, on the value role, on the systems roles, on the perceptions roles, on the resourcefulness of their own personal development. And this is what a calm leader does in construction. And it actually gives them time and authority, and it gives them space, and it gives them clarity. And at different roles, different times, this can shift from the client to the homeowner, and most importantly to the builder, to the quantity surveyor, to the labourer, to the carpenter, to the engineer, to the technician. Everybody has a part in this calmness and stillness. And while the biggest multiplier is probably at the leadership level of the client and the architect and their relationship, it comes back in and it infiltrates through everybody. I know one builder, every morning he walks onto a job site and he shakes hands with everybody. This is not accidental. It's also not accidental that this guy is one of the most dignified human beings I ever met. It's also not accidental. He's probably the most intellectually intelligent and astute builder I know. It's not accidental. He is profoundly knowledgeable on his financial robustness, and he is data driven. It's also not accidental. He's an extremely funny, relaxed guy. Not accidental that you need to have a really good night's sleep if you're going to have an argument with him, because he may be calm, but he's got calmness and clarity. So if you're having the site meeting with him, no staying up. And actually, you want to get on the site at least an hour early before that guy. But it transfers information, transfers knowledge, transfers disposition, transfers clarity, franticness and deadlines and roles and pressures, and these determinations and goals and aspirations often clash with each other. But if there is clarity, and if there's also clarity between the parties, not just in terms of specifications and workload, but if there's clarity of relationships, if there's clarity of roles, if there's clarity of scopes, this all brings calmness. All brings calmness. And as a client of mine yesterday said, we need to dumb down and over-explain our roles to each other. And it was too true. So a ramble. I'm not being very clear about clarity, am I? But I do believe in the matrix. I do believe in the alignment of it. I do believe that there is a swift flow. And Fuchs talks about it neurologically. He talks about how nearly on the non-conscious, physiologically, neurologically, and psychoanalytic levels, this is merged through into groupthink formation. And not the groupthink that we think about where everybody thinks the same, but a groupthink formation that is psychic and seeps in and interacts, not where people are thinking the same and they're all the same, but in a different psychoanalytic level where the projections are actually accepted, and in a healthy situation where those projections from the leader are actually analytical, they're calm, they're reassuring. In a lot of ways, it's a mirroring of a parenting role, an ideal parenting role that's good enough. Certainly got to throw in a little bit of Winnicott here, because the role has to be somewhat playful. Because if it isn't, it kind of runs out of energy to stimulate it. So, calmness, wisdom, reassurance, Status is important too, because there has to be belief in calmness, exponentialness, friendship, respect, decency. These are all the things that our parents, and I certainly know, God bless my parents, certainly know they struggled to embed in a certain young man, but they are of profound importance, and I cannot overstress that. Successful projects have calm leaders, and in my deal situation, that's from the three main components: the client, the architect, and the contractor. Thanks guys, talk to you.